Well, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, I'm going to try that again. Good afternoon, everybody. Yay! How was the first day of JNUC? Okay, y'all, that is weak. Melissa, can we get the electric slide, please? Because we need to do a little dance. Yeah. Come on, Walter. I know you want to. No, but seriously, I'm so excited to have you here. We made it. It's the end of the first day. It's almost happy hour. Almost. Just after this. Right after this. It's happy hour. This is the happy hour?
This is.
We brought some stuff.
Are the margaritas coming? Yeah. Okay. Are they coming right now?
Yeah. I think so.
Sweet.
I don't know.
So I would love to introduce you to our healthcare community, who will kick us off our final session about it takes a community, and that's one thing Jamf knows very well to do, is community. And Stephen, you promised no heckling from the front. Okay, here we go.
Thank you, darling. Okay, so for those of you who just joined us downstairs, we had a little situation with some slides. So if nobody noticed, we got away with it. Awesome. Hi, we are here to talk about the community. Most of you who know me know that this is the thing that I am the most proud of within Jamf. I think we'll get started. Is that all right, gents? You feel comfortable?
Sounds good. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So I was told I was allowed 2 people, but I sneaked an extra one in because these guys are really important to me. So I'm Vix. I look after healthcare globally. And as you all know, I stick my nose into anything that falls under health and human sciences, whether I should or not. And with that, I'm going to start at the end. So Justin.
Hey, Justin Fincher. I'm with Children's of Alabama.
George Zervoudis, I'm at Cityblock Health. And Keith Cox, I'm with UCLA Health in Los Angeles.
Lovely, thank you, gents. So about 2 years ago, probably to the day, we invited, and I say we, it was just a couple of Jamfs and I decided that we should have a little get-together for the people who mean the most to us in Jamf, our customers. And I had the pleasure of meeting some of these guys and asked, coerced, blackmailed, any of the above, into taking the picture you can see on the screen and creating a little video of why Jamf was important to them. Now, we were chatting and we had a lovely time together. We enjoyed the party, and I said to them, I'd really like to make this a thing. Would you be in for this? And one of the guys who can't be with us today, unfortunately, said, we get into healthcare to help, so let's do this. We should help each other more. And that obviously resonated with me a lot. And that simple statement has brought us here today. So, before we get into it, I just want to set the scene so people know where you've come from, what you're doing, how you use Jamf, that sort of stuff. Justin, are you okay to start?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
perfect. So if you could just give us a little update about you and what you do, where you come from,
Yeah.
you know, all of those sort of information.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
So again, my name is Justin Fincher. I'm with Children's of Alabama in Birmingham, and that's not Birmingham. That is Birmingham, Alabama, for those of you that either speak country or you're from across the pond. We're a 332-bed not-for-profit hospital in central Alabama. We serve kids throughout the state, surrounding states, throughout the nation. But we started our journey with Jamf in 2018 is when we started with Jamf. But prior to that, I was in the operating room as a surgical integration engineer covering all surgical technologies. And one day we had a nurse who was showing cartoons from her personal cell phone to a kid who was crying, waiting for anesthesia to come into the room. And I remember at that moment, I went, there's got to be a better way. First, staff aren't really supposed to be on their phones. Administration pushes that. But I was like, there's got to be a better way. So long story short, We worked with our foundation. We got a donor to give 30 iPads, the management tools, and when I say management, I mean Apple configurator on a MacBook. And so we started there, and then let's jump forward a few years. We ended up with Trend Micro Mobile Security. We realized that was a bad decision down the road because that app got pulled from the App Store. So we said, okay, now we need to make a decision and find something that's actually going to work. And so in 2018, we jumped on board with Jamf, and it changed everything. So we went from 30 devices in 2012 to now we have 2,600 iPads, iOS devices, Apple TVs, that we're using for Epic Welcome. We're using for Apple TVs for digital signage using Carousel. And so we've really kind of jumped from one end to the other, and we're continuing to grow each and every day. And so we just look forward to what the future is going to bring with that as we continue to grow.
Growth, I hope.
Growth,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you, darling. Keith, now we had the pleasure of doing this last year together.
We did.
We talked a little bit about your story then, but for those who weren't here or didn't catch it on wherever they would catch it, some sort of platform, could you tell us a little about where you come from?
Well, it's definitely on the platforms, which I learned in an interview where someone mentioned my icebreaker comment that was one of my more embarrassing moments. So that stuff is out there.
Can we just reiterate what the icebreaker was?
I don't remember what it was, but if
So
you
I
go
remember
to-
it really well. I asked Keith if he could tell me an interesting fact about himself that nobody would know.
Yes.
And you told me that you applied for a show.
Oh, God. I did.
I'm going to say, I think you guys call it The Apprentice. We call it The Apprentice in the UK, so I just want to make sure.
I thought it was The Bachelor. Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah. I think you'll have to go to YouTube.
That was the following year, I think.
Exactly.
But no matter what happened in that interview, he ended up with us.
It's true.
Okay.
So thank you, Vix. It's on the internet twice now, but UCLA Health, we have 3 major hospitals, and within them are 5 separately licensed facilities. So our big deployment is our bedside iPad deployment. We have 1 in every patient room across pediatrics, adults, and psych, and so those are all managed in Jamf. And then we have our nurse iPhones, which a separate team manages also in Jamf. And I think it was 2020 when we switched the phones from the other MDM that we used to Jamf, and decided to move the iPads as well, which is how we got involved in the Jamf community, which many, many things came from, which we can elaborate upon as we get going. But that kind of started our journey into collaborating with Jamf and the other health systems, many of whom are in the room today, that we phone a friend often when we're trying to figure out what to do with these deployments. So.
Thank you very much. And last but by no means least, our newest member of the community. But before you say anything, George works with a lovely couple of men called Stephen. Yes, they are both called Stephen. They are not on stage with us today, but I wanted to shout them out particularly because they have been instrumental in being vocal. So whilst you are not on stage, I wanted you to both know that I appreciate you very much. I love the energy you bring, and I love the questions you bring for our technical guys. So thank you, gents, very much. Now, George, you are my newest person to the table who I coerced into getting up here. I actually did. A lot.
Yeah,
for
she's
a really
holding my
long
children hostage. So.
They will be released this evening. So can you tell us a little bit, George, about how you came to join our little community?
I don't know really. It just kind of happened perfectly. We got a call from Justin, who's a partner with our CSM, and he said, hey, this is a great group that really smart guys are all talking about what they're doing in healthcare. Do you want to join? And we said yes in a heartbeat. And it's been great because we do things a little bit differently, and we're a lot smaller, right? And we're still growing, and there, we're very much in that we can still kind of try these new things because we haven't gotten as big as these guys, but we have their knowledge to pull from, which has been tremendous, and it really is helpful. And maybe we don't use the same tools, or maybe we don't have the same sort of layouts, but the knowledge itself is helpful and saves us a lot of time and wasted just trying to figure it out on our own. So it's been really great being part of this group.
Thank you, love. So I'm going to leave the unicorn story for another day. Okay. However, yes, you can all ask him later. We talk quite a lot amongst our healthcare community about how tech is advancing, how we are trying to have best practice, we are trying to make sure that standards are kept and compliance. My little phrase, I love the compliance. Very important to us in healthcare, across the globe, just to be clear. But we talk about things being missing. Now, for those of you who came to the previous session that we had with Walter and James, they were talking about learning from each other. And for me, I come from a hospital background, which was very much a case of we wanted to be the leader, but we were always really scared. But we were going to be the leader in everything. So we tried everything first. I kind of wish we hadn't and that we'd had a community to discuss that with. So with that, I'm going to say, without the community, where would we be? What have we learned? I want all of the good stuff and all of the stories. There is a story that I'm going to tell on behalf of the gentleman who can't be with us today about him stalking Keith at San Diego, who was desperate to meet you so that you could collaborate. And I think that has now turned into something really important to you guys.
It has indeed. So we, a number of the people that I've met through this, we connect on a regular basis. So we have a monthly call with UCSF where Kevin sits in his garage and we hear the latest updates.
With the dog.
With the dog. Maybe his kids come in sometimes, so we get to know the whole family. But yeah, we collaborate on what the priorities are and what lessons learned are from different projects. And it's kind of like free consulting. So we get to, instead of having to reinvent the wheel every time that we have a project, we can learn from Walter's deployment and what they figured out in Cincinnati or UCSF or any of these other health systems.
I think I just need to stop there. Do you think Walter gets named in every single session at JNUC? Just putting that out there, guys.
It's a drinking
We do
game.
get paid, but
It's
it's
true, yeah.
It's a thing.
But I mean,
See,
it's
he
true
just took a
though.
shot.
I mean, it's, we're all doing so many different things. And it's not just the problems, what issues we're, I mean, we're all healthcare IT, so we all deal with some of the same issues, and we're not dealing with those in a silo by ourselves. But I mean, we're dealing with those things, and so when we run into those problems, we're able to talk together to work through what those problems are, but they are what you just said, Keith, is that we're all working on some cool stuff and some fun things in the background, and then we can all kind of pull those in and make ourselves look really good with our administration, right? And we can say, hey, look, we want to deploy this in our area. And so I think it's awesome. And I think one other point that I want to make is that, I said this yesterday in our roundtable, but we're not just consumers of Jamf. We don't just, we're a bunch of users, we're a bunch of admins that use Jamf, but I think the biggest thing about the community is that when you end up with a community this larger than just one or two people, you now are not just a consumer, but you're now helping shape the product that we use each and every day. I can't tell you how many times we've had engineers on the call, or our voice gets to be heard because, number one, Vix is going to make sure that she's heard, which means that we get heard, which I think is powerful, and I'm not making fun of you. That's a good thing.
Well, that makes a change, but thanks.
But yeah, and then it's never boring with Kevin.
It's true.
Or, I'm sorry, he that is not to be named.
Yeah, exactly. The gentleman who cannot be with us.
There's also something kind of reassuring that you get in this big group of people who are kind of all doing the same thing, and they all have the same problem, right? So you're not there like, oh my God, why can't I figure it out? No, everyone kind of has this problem, and you can pull from all those people and find out what they did right and wrong. And again, as I said it before, you save so much time and headaches just being able to pull from all these resources in one little meeting. Well, not little anymore, but it's really fantastic.
So when I started working with you guys in the States a little while ago, I remember a conversation of, it's because I just want to reiterate what you said. She's a woman from the UK. What does she know about American healthcare? And I was like, oh, okay. but you're experiencing problems of not being able to provision devices. You're not being able to share devices effectively. You're not being able to secure those devices, and well, you're not learning with people. So I felt quite empowered at that stage to go, do you know what? Actually, I do know a little about this, because it is what you said. We are all experiencing the same things. And those of you who don't know the community quite as well as these guys do, we have customers from around the globe who join our community calls, who share and have learnt from the community, taken it back, and created a better standard and a set of best practices. And for me, that's the epitome of what we're trying to do, but doing it from each other. This started, again, with Walter, I'm really sorry, when he and UCSF were starting out, and I think Kevin said, I saw what Walter was doing, and instead of taking me a year and a half to do it, I could do it in half a year. And those are powerful things. Mm-hmm. So I think I'd like an example now of where you have learnt from somebody else and been able to implement that.
Yeah.
Do you want to
that in 2023, Keith was talking through some of their Apple TV deployments and why they were doing that. And that was definitely something, a pain point that we were having in our facility. You know, how do we deploy Apple TVs? How do we deploy using third-party software that doesn't have Apple TV apps? You know, what are we to do? And luckily, Keith had been working on a lot of that, and even working with that vendor hand in hand to develop an Apple TV app that exists today. And we are now walking down that path of making that a reality at Children's of Alabama. So, because it affects, we all have that common goal, it affects the patient or the staff that are using these devices that we want to roll out. So Keith has made an impact on our patients, and what they've done has made an impact on our staff.
Keith?
Well, pour another shot for the Walter drinking game. So while we were going through that, we had all kinds of network problems. We had connectivity issues that we thought were related to the iPad and Jamf and the Apple TV. We spent probably 100 hours troubleshooting this, sending logs back and forth to Apple and Jamf, and kind of peripherally had our network team on the call. We then included our friends at Cincinnati, who helped direct us to some of the more specific network issues that they had experienced through the same vendor that we have, which ultimately led to figuring out what the problem was and saving us lots of time.
So no more 100 hours of trying to figure stuff out.
And we don't recommend the control center thing is cool at home. I don't know if it's that cool in the hospital yet.
It's okay, we know. As I said, there was 4 of us, 4 of the customers at the start, and me, that I coerced into starting to have this. And we would meet up and have a bit of a chat and talk about what people were doing. And after a little while, more people kind of started to hear that you guys were getting together and sharing and doing the learning thing. And I think if any of you listened to the keynote this morning, it's the thing that Jamf prides itself on most is the community. And we did start really small. It was literally just 4 of you guys and me, and we would get together and you would talk about stuff, and then it started to grow. And we are now in a place where we don't just have a mobility call to look after our mobility customers, but we also have a separate Mac call now that is supported by lovely Aunt Darlo. We'll call him out because he's not here today. Because you guys came and said, the community's great, but we need more. And I think the joy of what we experience is that we can listen and we can create and we can move forward. We have had the pleasure of people coming to discuss new features and product, talking to you about what you want to see, and we have absolutely made a difference to the healthcare community. But also, from a Jamf perspective, we've made a difference to Jamf. Because I think you said it right, Justin, is that you are now shaping how Jamf is being able to move forward in healthcare. And what more could we want? You know, we will have those set of best practices that I strive for every single day, and we will be able to share those. And it's I'm going to say it, don't get excited, it's not Jamf blueprints. I know you can see a blueprint on the screen, but it is a blueprint of being able to copy and replicate. So I think, George, you and I had a conversation recently about what's the community meant to you, because you were telling me a story that you were so impressed about these guys. What happened next?
I wanted to replicate it in with other vendors, especially coming to JNUC last year for the first time. It's very unique here. Everybody wants to help you. It's strange. I've gone to other conferences. It's not really like that. It is really a community, even just other admins out there, right? Or even anyone on the Jamf staff. Well, they're happy to help you. It's like they're calling almost. It's really exciting. So I said, why can't we do something similar with our other vendors, right? So I started reaching out to, I don't know if I want to put names out there, but some, let's say our ticketing system. I said, you know what? We're doing this great thing where we're meeting up with other people in healthcare, and we're talking about how we're using the platform, what's working, what's not working. I want to do that with you guys so we can see what are the best practices out there that we don't know about. I always say this, I say it, you don't know what you don't know, right? You might think you're doing something the best way, but it's just the way that you know how to do it, right? Sometimes you need a bit of perspective to come from someone else to tell you, hey, maybe you could do it this way instead. So I wanted to do that and expand out, and I told maybe 3 different vendors, and didn't really go do the greatest, but I put it out there, and that's all you can really do, right? Additionally, I actually started my own user group.
No way.
Yeah, I started my own local user group in Raleigh, North Carolina. Got about 10 people there. There's a few of them here. So it's been great, and I highly recommend everyone, if you have the flexibility, try it,
I mean, I think you bring up a good point, is that at the core, we're human. And what do we want as humans? We want to have connection, we want to have relationship. And so I think one of the biggest things is after 2023, we kind of formed this really strong group at JNUC 2023. Well, when we met in Nashville last year, we showed up and we were happy that we were getting to hang out, and we had friends and group that we could just connect with right out of the gate. That makes such a huge difference. Okay, let's lay all the tech stuff that we're talking about here down. When you really look at the relationship and the human connection with all this, it makes it so much more powerful, and it makes the product that we're using every day so much more powerful kind of organically in its own way, because you're building those relationships and then you're wanting to connect and help and continue to grow in that way.
So if you could, each of you, if you could offer a piece of advice out, the thing that you have possibly adopted, nurtured, I don't know, what would you do next? I love hanging out with you guys because you get to shape what I do. And that for me is really important, because in turn I shape what that happens with Jamf. We take that to Apple, we work with our partners, and we have the most wonderful ecosystem with the most wonderful partners who want to help us and help our customers, because they understand that we put the patient first, we put the clinical staff first, and then we just follow up and make sure it all happens. But if you could take anything and then share forward a piece of information, what would it be?
I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is reaching out to whoever you have questions for. Just hit them up. And if you get those requests, just always say yes. Because we get, I'm sure many of you guys do. I know we've heard from plenty of you as well. Either through Apple or Epic or Jamf, someone reaches out about, what have you guys figured out with the iPad program, because iPads can be hard in hospitals. So we just take all those calls, and then we learn something on every one of those calls too. So.
Nice, love it.
I'll kind of piggyback but in a different way. I find that people have a hard time feeling vulnerable and asking questions. You need to just put it out there and ask the questions. And I think that's one of the most important things about that call, is that everyone knows, you know what? There's no egos, right? Well, there might be some. But you can just lay it out there. Hey guys, this is my problem. And someone will get back to you. Maybe not all the time. Seems to happen to me a little bit more often than others. That's okay. I'm not salty about it. But you put it out there, someone's going to get back to you. At some point, someone will come back like next week and be like, oh, you know what? I remember George reached out about this. Let's go. The other day, I think I saw Jared here somewhere. He helped us out on some issues we were having with, was it Entra? Or, yeah. Not Jamf related, but still, you put it out there. Who cares how you feel?
I think you've hit the nail on the head, though, George. It's not all about Jamf, and it's not all about Apple. I mean, it is in my world, but not for you guys. And therefore, there are other things that need to be considered. With the firewall issue that you had, and we were trying to figure out, where is this firewall issue? Is it a firewall issue? Is it not a firewall issue? Is it a tech issue? Is it a Jamf? There is somebody that knows something in the community that will be able to either point you in one direction or another. Go on then, Justin, you're up last.
Not sure exactly how to answer this, but I think one of the things is that when we have a community and we all are using not just Jamf, but we're using third-party applications or services, we can all collectively hit those other vendors to get involved and to push them to listen to the community as well, not just from a Jamf perspective, but these vendors that are working with Jamf on the back end. They're working with Apple on the back end. I'm not going to name any names, but
we know.
Yeah, we've got to push those people to get involved as well, to help work through some of the things that are pain points for us.
So it's almost like you're saying, if we collaborate and collate information together and go as one voice, but with multiple parties, we
There's more
could
power.
probably achieve more.
Yep.
Wow, if only, hey? I love that idea. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate that. So we're not perfect. We've still got lots of growing to do. I think the thing that is most important for me is the fact that we now have so many healthcare organizations globally joining us. And I'm going to go off script. Really sorry about this, guys. But actually, George, it was about you this morning and your team. You met up with some new people to the healthcare community this morning, along with a couple of other customers who are joining the healthcare community, but are struggling a little and have a few questions. And I arranged for you guys to all get together this morning, as I always do when we're at JNUC. There is always time set aside for you guys to get together. And I sat and listened. And for a change, I didn't say anything. I know, it's a miracle. Thank you. And I listened to the fact that you were solving problems for each other. You were sharing advice. You were being a community with some people that you had not met before today. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true, because you actually met them yesterday.
Yeah. But,
But let's go with the story. I'm going off piste, remember? No script. So this morning I sat there and I listened. And after about 20 minutes, I got up and walked away because I realized that I can't add value to this conversation. There's nothing that I can bring because you're doing it all together on your own. Now, when we set up the community, I promised you that it wouldn't always be about Jamf. And I promised you it wouldn't always be about Apple. And this morning it wasn't. The conversations were not about Jamf. They were not about Apple. They were about finding best practices. And I know I keep saying it, but it is really important. And I walked away, and my colleague came with me, and he put his arm around me and said, "You did good." And I thought, do you know what? I think we did. We really did. So, George, thank you to you and your team for that this morning.
This is how the community got started in 23.
Exactly.
It wasn't Jamf specific. It was James and Walter and Kevin and Keith and others where we're sitting around talking about the patient experience in the room, period. It was about virtual nursing. What are we doing? And half the stuff wasn't even Jamf related. And so right there, it started off on that note, not just Jamf specific. Just Jamf happened to be the catalyst that kind of helped get us
I'll be the catalyst. I'll take that. I like that. You can call me that from now on. It's okay. So I think, look, you know what we're saying. It does take a community. I think there's that old-fashioned saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And for us, it takes a community to be in healthcare. And I think we've realized that, we have embraced that, and we have moved forward that. So moving forward, if we were going to do this again, what would we do differently? And yes, I am open to criticism, mostly. Be a little bit kind, guys. Who wants to go first?
Which part? For to do what again?
If we were to start a community again, what would we do first? What would we do better?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it went really well, like getting a group of people together, sharing best practices. Some people have been doing this for many, many years. Some of us are brand new to it. I think we opened the doors a little wider. We could have done that sooner, maybe.
Agreed.
But we built a solid core group of people and went from there. So.
I'll take it. George, any thoughts?
You know, it's hard because I just sort of got added into the group. You know, I've been into the little family here. So from my perspective, it seems like a lot was done really well. Not like you all curated people, but I think maybe kind of what you said, like keeping the doors kind of closed a little bit, sort of allowed for the right people to join in. Right, so I can't really say what could be done differently, but I think you're doing a great job, and I'm really happy that you all included us in here.
Well, thanks.
I just want to say this really clearly. Jamf Healthcare specific swag. No, I really don't know. You're welcome.
Okay. So
Can I change mine to his answer as well?
I was going to say, since we're talking about that.
For sure.
Always about the swag. I've realized this.
I think on one serious note too, the food budget, we can add to like a happy hour.
I'll work on
Add
it for
happy
next year,
hours.
guys. I'll work on it for next
Vic's
year.
a line item, that's what we want.
Okay, all right. So I think what we've established is the community has made us better. We work collaboratively and we are taking it forward. I think for me personally, what I now love is that this has been adopted in all of the other industries. So we now have the same for education, we have the same for retail, aviation, manufacturing, and also FinServe. So I think what we did was we took a really good idea. I think you might have been a little drunk when we came up with it. And we've made it happen, and now it has been adopted across the whole of Jamf. And I am super pleased that the community is what brings us and holds us together. So I think with that, I'm going to say thank you, gents. Much appreciated. There's a little honorary flash on the screen there. I hope you didn't miss it. For those of you who are not aware, there's a new saying in the States about let's get a pig in a blender. And that one's especially for the gentleman who can't be with us today. So thank you all very much. If there's any questions, please speak now or forever hold your peace.
Don't all shout at once.
That's the second time nobody's asked a question today. I'm taking it as a win, guys. Thank you all very much. And gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.